What's going on YouTube? Mr. Ferguson here once again. Thank you guys for checking out this hopefully brief Monday video. It's late on Sunday evening. We've just had so much water as we've talked about here recently. Today I'll quickly come back behind the camera and show you. My wife actually, she said, I like doing the grass. It gives me a good workout. And actually she did a fantastic job. Besides our area here, we're going to talk about here in a second, it looks pretty good. Look at that. It's hard to show it again on camera. The sun's right here in the camera behind the tree here, but man, look at that. A stress blend is continuing to make it look pretty awesome. Again, not a whole lot of nitrogen, but yet the grass looks amazing. We still have here in the ditch the remnants of where all the water was flowing back down. You know, we're on a plane here, a downhill from left to right, so all the grass is still looking nasty here in the ditch area. Where we're going to be working, but let me go back over here and try to fix the shot up to where we were before. But thank you for tuning in. I want to just kind of do a little bit of kind of a dumb experiment, if you will. It's nothing that's real, you know, anything that's going to break the internet or anything like that. We've been talking about dethatching. We've been talking about our dethatcher, whether it's electric or using a good old rake. And so my thoughts here is we're just going to do a little bit of an experiment here in a second. But I was disagreeing with somebody on the internet here in the comment section actually recently. And they were saying basically, long story short, tall fescue, you don't really need to dethatch, only Kentucky bluegrass and other grasses. And I kindly disagreed. I think with all of this mess right here that you're looking at, the brown, if, in my opinion, and this is what I was telling the commenter, is if I was to put, you know, just aerate this and put down the seed on top, aerating it definitely would make a difference because you're obviously punching through this layer of dead grass and thatch right here. But if we don't aerate, if we don't punch the holes, by the way, aerating, the purpose of aerating is not so we have holes for the seed to go into. That's not the purpose. I think most of us that are watching lawn care, we know that. And sorry, let me put this rake on something that's not going to make a sound on the concrete. But aerating is obviously for loosening compaction. We run it everywhere. It pulls up the plugs. We're loosening compaction. My point was, with this layer on top, if our seed sits on top of this stuff, we're not getting good seed to soil contact. And so that was my point. So I've done this for 2 years where I get all the dead grass from the summer. And another commenter actually from New Jersey had commented and said, Mr. Ferguson, I'm down in Apex. Oh my goodness, this is brutal down here. And you're exactly right. I played golf yesterday, and this is what I told him, was I was playing golf yesterday, sweating like a pig. I believe it was not this hot. Dead serious, hand to God. It was not as hot as it was yesterday in North Carolina, in Ecuador, as it was yesterday in North Carolina when we were playing golf. It was miserable. I mean, sweating. I had to have a towel just to get a grip on the club. I had to wipe my hand down on a towel. It was that bad. But anyways, so long story short, if you're living in North Carolina and you're trying to do cool season grass like this nut right here and all of you nuts watching on the screen, then we're going to have die-off in the summer. And so we want to make sure if we have a lot of die-off like this, that we handle it either with a dethatcher or a rake. So for this simple little video, while I talk to you, I thought let's just do an example and a test. We're in August. We're almost in the middle of August. Well, by the time you're watching this, it's August 12th. It's just hard to believe that's even possible. But I thought, let's do a little test. We're going to leave the bank for right now how it is. I'm not going to mess with that. We're going to handle that with the electric dethatcher here very soon. But a couple, you know, before we do that, let's take this little small section you see in the area. Maybe we'll do it from right here at the ditch. And I'm just going to rake some of this, and hopefully it will come up. And let's clear out some of this dead and see, you know, is it going, if we clear this out as if we were going to see tomorrow, the point of this being getting all the dead out, what will actually come out. And you see, if we just use a rake, it's actually clumping up, and there's some right there. It's more difficult with the rake, but I want to make sure my seed is going to hit this ground and is going to get good seed to soil contact. And so all we're going to do is run it over. So if you don't have a dethatcher, and I act like I can't walk over here, we're not going to do all of this, just a small section. I'm curious to see we've talked about with Poa annua in the wintertime. NC State talked about if you mow your grass too low in the fall time. You guys have heard me quote this stat. I will quote it for the rest of my life because NC State told it to me and now I know what it is. That between 1 September and 30 October, 80% of our Poa annua begins to germinate. You can't always see it with your natural eye, but 1 September, 30 October, that's when our Poa annua is germinating. We're almost there, guys. But it was also talking about how when we cut our grass too low, the sun pierces the ground, the soil, and it begins to activate weed seeds. So what does that have to do with you raking thatch out of your lawn? Well, I'm curious to see if we do this right now, before we throw down the seed. We're doing this kind of early. If we do this now, will that still be true? Over the next couple days, we'll come back, we're gonna film, Wednesday video, Friday video. If we clear some of this thatch out right now, a little earlier than we are up in these sections on the bank, will the sun penetrate the soil? Will we have a lot of crabgrass, a lot of Bermuda pop up right here? This could be a terrible idea, but again, I'm a YouTuber. I wanna find out. I've intentionally left this here to kind of stop weeds from coming up. That's been my thinking, but is that making a difference? I don't know, we're gonna find out. So as you see, I'm just kind of taking this rake. I don't really care about getting all of it, but I want to get a portion of this out, this dead grass, at least this little narrow strip. And as you see, I'm going one way. If you play golf, you know about putting with and against the grain. And that's kind of what I'm seeing here. When I'm raking this thatch, you see I'm going left to right or up and down, depending on the way you're looking at me. But you want to go against the grain. Now I want to go back down this way. I want to go the opposite way so I get all areas. So if you go left to right, now I want to go up and down again, depending on which way you're looking at me. But will the sun penetrating this ground right here, and of course, I'm trying not to act like I ain't going to get winded just raking a little bit on here, but I don't rake every day, that's for sure. But there we go. So I'll show you this up close in a second, now that we're doing some raking. So it just looks like it's kind of wet, right? So we're just going to do this little section right here. And if I'm blocking the entire shot, I apologize. I'll get out of the way here in a second. But we're just going to pull some of this up. I started experimenting with it last time I was over here with a rake. And you just see, this is clearly dead. It's going to come up. But you also see some of the good grass. It's going to not affect it. We're just raking it out, almost like leaves. And now, of course, that I've done this, I'm not looking at totally getting everything. That's Bermuda right here. You may be able to tell Bermuda right here. A lot of this, I hate to see it go, but you see it's just a pile of thatch. Dead grass thatch. It is, as somebody said, when we're talking about quote thatch, thatch is not necessarily bad. The thick buildup of thatch can be bad. Everybody likes to make that comment. I'm aware. So whether this is quote thatch or not, it is dead grass. And to me, I don't want this in my lawn. Personally, I don't care what kind of grass you got. If I've got a layer of anything, material, between the soil and the seed, to me that's going to be a problem. If you don't believe that, comment below and tell me why that's not a problem to you. But I don't like it. I would rather take this extra step. So again, you can see I've been out here for what? We've been filming for a couple minutes. I can't see the timer on the video, but just a couple minutes. And this is just a leaf rake. As somebody properly commented on one of my videos here recently, maybe it was the last video, there's a dethatched rake or a thatch rake that Pete has talked about it. I've looked at it. It is kind of expensive, but if you don't have a whole lot to do, then the rake can do it instead of an electric corded machine. But as you guys can see, we've raked that pretty good and we've got most of it out. I would still probably run the little tines from my earthway over this thing when it comes time to seed. But man, instantly I'm reminded when I see this of all the years I've planted grass. It's that view of that dead, the dead grass that didn't make it through the summer, but the dark soil that I've raked and now penetrated. It's like, man, it's prime right here for some seed. but we're not going to do it yet. That's why I'm only doing this little section. So there we go. So we've gotten most of the dead out, not all of it. The electric rake might even be able to pull a ton out of here that I'm not getting by rake or the proper rake. But you see, you get the point, just this little section, you can see all the dead grass we've gotten out right here. So there you go. I mean, and that's with there's the head of my rake. You can see how big. It's about a handful. So I'm gonna have to grab this and throw it in the woods. And I'm sure there's something that somebody can comment and say, that's good for doing this with it or that. I chuck it in the woods. It'd be great probably to start a fire, but let me take you off the camera or off the stand here, excuse me. And there we go. So that's what we're looking at. You can see the difference to kind of get in here. We've just kind of taken the rake and just slowly gotten out some of the dead, and we've now got great seed to soil contact. Here's a good side by side where if I seed all of this, it's definitely going to grow. But over here, you see it's almost like a mat laying on top of the ground. And of course, we can clearly see it up here. Big difference between this that's been watered down, and when we squat down here, it's been rained on and everything. You can just see totally different than where we've gotten out the dead little mound here. So let's see, in the next couple days, we're going to come back, probably Wednesday. We'll go ahead and see. I don't know if it can happen that fast. I don't know. It may sit like this until the day I start seeding, and I was totally wrong. I could have done this work a long time ago. I'm going to find out this year. We're going to find out together. So what are your thoughts below? Let me know in the comments. Do you think, with the sun now penetrating, where I've removed the dead grass, it's open soil, do you think I'm going to fill this section up right here with crabgrass, with Bermuda and other weeds, or do you think it's just going to kind of sit and remain as is and look the same as this? Clearly you can see some Bermuda has come in here and other things. It looks terrible, right? That definitely looks better, but if we do it too early, are weeds going to invade and we're just causing more harm, or will it matter? Now, if summer weeds come in here, clearly when the temperature begins to cool down, those weeds are going to die out. Something like Bermuda is going to check out, but have we opened a door for Bermuda to constantly come back each and every year? That's why you want to plant your fescue thick so that we don't, and try to keep it hydrated next summer so it doesn't invade. So let me know your thoughts on this in comments below. I just like doing this because I'll admit to you guys, when I don't know what's going to happen, the only reference that I have of what could happen is what I did the very first year I planted fescue. I killed off my entire backyard. And when I did it in August, and all this crabgrass started coming up because I did it so early. I didn't do it closer to the time of seeding. So I'm curious now, if I've taken all this out, am I going to have crabgrass now begin to germinate like I think I will, or not? And will this section actually be better to keep it with the dead grass until you're ready to seed, or a week or so before? What is going to be the results? Let me know. Like the video. Check out the links below if you still need protein, or excuse me, if you still need fertilizer, still need seed, check out the links below and let me know your thoughts. We'll update you on this as we get closer to the week and as we see some development and change in this. I don't think we're expecting any for sure rain, so we'll let you know. God bless you guys. Give the video a thumbs up. We'll see you next time.